Professor Elaine Pagels, welcome. I'm thankful that you're taking the time today to express about your new book, Miracles and Wonder. This is years in the making, and you've written several viral bestsellers from the Gnostic Gospels. You've dealt with the origin of Satan. You've dealt with why religion, but what led to this book?
Well, thank you, Derek. It's good to see you again. This book is different from the others because the others, as you said, are about specific topics, secret gospels or sexual attitudes or the origin of Satan or the book of Revelation. This one, I kind of tried to put together what I've been teaching in a class about how Christianity began. That's what I wanted to know. How did this movement start? And the biggest questions, and I was asking myself these questions, what do we really know historically about Jesus of Nazareth? What do we not know? And there's most of what happened we don't know because the earliest stories are just very short. But the more important question than either one is, why do we care? I mean, why do you and many other people, countless people throughout the world, talk about Jesus, think about Jesus, follow Christian tradition? It's still the widest religious movement in the world. And so I was trying to understand that. And also, what the spiritual power of this book is. That's a different thing, to understand why we really actually love these stories. So this book tries to put that together, adding to that what we know from Roman sources, like the writings of Senator Tacitus in Rome, who despised Jesus, and a court historian named Suetonius, who wrote the lives of the Caesars and just mentioned Jesus incidentally, the Jewish historian Josephus, who was not a fan of Jesus either. What they tell us about the political and social and military situation of the place where Jesus lives in Judea at the time he was living, and how that affects the whole story.
Wow. There's so much you cover there. Would it be safe to say that out of all the works you've ever produced, you can kind of get a buffet of them all and your latest, greatest thoughts on all the matters you've really dealt with in this book?
Well, I'd like to say it is that. I mean, as much as I can, there is so much we don't know. And yet this figure of Jesus is still totally captivating for 2,000 years. I mean, this is still, the best known religious figure in the world. There are others. There's Buddha, there's Moses, there's Muhammad. But this movement seems to have really deeply connected with people. And I think it does so in many ways. There's people from Roman Catholic to evangelical to Pentecostal and Russian Orthodox and everything in between, all different ways of engaging and connecting with the story of Jesus. So that fascinates me. I was also looking at how filmmakers today, 3 of them in the last few years, have done films which are based on the story of Jesus and for very different reasons, seeing this story in such different perspectives. So the stories somehow catch the imagination and the hearts of people in a very deep way.
What would you say is one of the top things in this book that you think people are going to be most impressed by?
Well, that's a good question. I was asking myself those questions because I still love to teach this material, although I know it very well, and there's not much in the New Testament about Jesus. The New Testament Gospels are maybe 15 pages long or 20 pages long. That's not much at all. And yet I still love them. So I first thought, and this is true, that I'm deeply attracted to the teaching of Jesus about how to treat other people. Love your brother and forgiveness and embracing all people, whether they're like you or whether they're different. I mean, Jesus teaches that in the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew and Luke, and also in the Gospel of Thomas, secret gospel. But this time I discovered something else that I hadn't really noticed. It's about how the stories in the Bible, and I mean the Hebrew Bible as well as the New Testament, always start in a situation of stress and difficulty. The story of Moses starts as Israel's people are being dominated and enslaved by the Egyptians and suffering terribly under the hands of these foreign oppressors. We see that today in many parts of the world. But that story moves into hope. It moves into the people. The Lord takes them out of Egypt and frees them from slavery, gives them a new land, their own land, and it makes them into a great empire. Or the story of Joshua when he's in the wilderness. He wins the battles. The stories of Daniel in the lion's den, about to be torn apart by wild animals. He comes out alive. And the story of Jesus really culminates this in a tremendous way with the story of a man who's God's chosen, he's the Son of God. He comes into the world and he preaches the coming of the kingdom, but he's captured, tortured, and killed in a horrendously painful way. And that's where Mark, at least in his original story, ends the story. But the stories never stop there. They never stop with a terrible ending or a tragedy. They always move into hope. So Jesus, who's captured by the Romans, tortured and killed, nevertheless is coming back to rule the world. So all of these stories move us, the readers, from a situation of suffering and terror and death, sickness, whatever it is, and they move us into hope. And I realize that gives us hope for whatever situation we confront today.
I hope people will go get the copy, and the book is out now, Miracles and Wonder. Elaine, any final words from you before we let you go?
Well, I'm just happy to share this work with other people who engage it. I love the conversations we have and the many that will come after this.
Thank you so much. Get you a copy today. We appreciate it. Let us know in the comments section your thoughts. Thank you.